wanna do it all with you by my side. If you're in, meet me here tonight.
Okay, we're back. I'm David Dom with All Terrain. These tailgate sessions are we talk about real life, real experiences, and real ways to help you have real success. And this podcast, I'm really going to focus in on working side by side with your customer. Boy, isn't that important? And I'm going to give you three tips. I'm going to give you three tips that you just have to be doing right now. So grab your notebook, grab that pen, and let's get going. Many of you have reached out and said, David, boy, it's just different out here. The crop has gone in for the most part in time. It's gone pretty well. And there for a while, it seemed like, when the smell of the dirt and things are going, farmers and you are just running 100 miles an hour. And I'm not saying those things still aren't happening. But I had a client call me yesterday and said, I've noticed, David, that, and what I'm wondering is when things start to slow down again, will some of the pressure, some of the things that are going on in our environment, in the marketplace, are they going to become top of mind with farmers? And I think that's likely to happen. So what do you do about it when moods change? I think the first thing is you got to remember to control the controllable. I mean, you can't control things that are uncontrollable, so focus on those things that you can control. Well, what can you control? What can you control? You can control your attitude. You can control your preparation. You can control your knowledge. You can control your service to your customers. You can control all of that. And there's really only one thing that you really need to sell right now. You want to know what that is? There's really only one thing that you really need to be focused on right now in selling, and that's trust. The relationship, the trust that you're developing and continue to work with your customers, those are the things that are going to make things simpler, easier, not only for you, but them. One of the things that I hope that you'll remember, I'm going to say this twice, because I think it can be one of those things you'll never forget. Are you ready? See, you need to fall in love with your customer's problem more than your solution. I'm going to say it again. You need to fall in love with your customer's problems more than your solutions. Think about if I asked that of a customer and said, does your salesperson, does your agronomist, do you think they're really focused on helping you solve your problem? What would you want them to say? And if they said yes, I would ask them, tell me, how do you notice that? Oh, they're passionate. They're always there for me. They're asking me a ton of questions. But what if they said no? How do you know that they're not in love with your problem? They start selling me stuff. They don't answer their phone. They don't listen to me. So the three tips I'm going to give you today so that you can fall in love with your customers' problems are these. First thing, you got to be a great listener. We've continued to talk about it. And the tip that you have to use to be a great listener, when you know that you're going to repeat or summarize key words or phrases that a customer tells you, if you know you're going to do that, what happens to your listening? It goes up. Repeat and summarize key words or phrases of what your customer tells you, and your listening goes up, and they're going to notice. Second thing, be empathetic. We've talked in previous programs that sympathy is when a loved one passes away. Sometimes people will tell you, I'm really sorry about your loss. That's sympathy. You've been sympathetic to others when that happens. Empathy is actually doing something about it. I'm sorry about your loss, and because I know you're going to be busy, I'd love to mow your lawn. I'd love to bring a casserole over on Wednesday night so that you don't have to cook. That's empathy. What are you doing to be empathetic with each one of your customers and your prospects? The third tip is you got to ask questions. Now, I'm going to give you the 2 questions that you got to be asking. You're going to need to make them your own in regards to the specifics, but I'm going to give you those 2 questions. Get ready. When I'm talking with other farmers like you, John, they often want to know what options that they're going to have available in. Now, I'm going to let that sit. That could be anything. I'm going to say the question again. When I'm working or talking with other farmers like you, insert first name, they often want to know. They often want to know. I want you to underline that. You do not change that. That is an engagement statement. It gets that farmer curious. They want to know more about. So, John, when I'm talking with other farmers, other customers like you, they often want to know what options they have available in. Well, it could be anything. What options they're going to have available in V5 fungicides this year. They often want to know what we're seeing in regards to emergence. They often want to know if we're having a cutworm issue out here. They're often wanting to know what herbicides look to be at this point doing the best in regards to pre-emerge control. Make it your own. The key thing that you got to put about 5 stars by and you got to underline, they often want to know. You can make this anything you want it to be. It engages the farmer. By the way, this is how you gain respect and trust. This is how you separate yourself from someone else. Because if the someone else in your area is more in love with their solutions, more in love with closing the sale, more in love with their low price tag, do you think they're asking any questions? Do you think they're investing any time with empathy? Do you think that they're investing any time getting the farmer to understand what their options are? That's a question, isn't it? Do you know the answer to that? Questions and powerful questions, like I've just provided you, is going to earn people's respect. They're going to want to talk with you more. Now, let's go to the second question that I wanted to give you. It has that same flavor. It has that same flavor of the starting position, so to speak. Don't worry, you can change those words. But listen for the words that sound like they often make their decision on what to do. Be listening for those words. Are you ready? So, David, you know, when I'm talking to other customers like you, they've really been looking for answers on some of the little things that they can do to pinch as much yield out of this crop as they can. And they've often made their decisions on what to do based on my recommendations, based on efficacy, based on return on investment, based on the past 2 years of results, based on our scouting reports. Now I'm going to go back because I know you're writing. And I'm going to do it again, but I want you to put yourself in the position now as understanding why this question is so powerful. The question is so powerful right now because you're really setting the criteria that farmers should be making their decision on. See, when people are tired, I bet there's a few of those out there, right? When people are tired, when they're rushed, when their plate is full, when they're stressed, well, what happens in regards to their decision making? They generally don't see things clearly. They generally sometimes make poor decisions. And so the power of this question is that you're helping them with the criteria. Let me do it one more time. When I'm working with my other customers like you, they've been looking for answers on, and that can be anything. It could be on herbicides. It could be on fungicides. It could be on seed. It could be on precision. I don't care. But so when I'm working with other farmers like you, they've been all looking for little answers that can help them to pinch out a little bit more out of this crop. And they often make their decisions on what to do, well, based on you include what those would be. And what I might have you do is you got to create your own. And if you want to create your own and then send it to me, David, David, at All-Terrain Ready, ALTERRAIN Ready, READY.com, I'll give you some feedback. Those two questions I just gave you are really important. They're really, really important. And that's what we do. That's what we do, is to help you be as extraordinary on these calls right now as you can be. And it's so important. The final thing that I'm going to provide you here on our podcast is I really want you to think about this. There's going to be a lot of farmers that are going to try to cut things out of their programs right now. Your head's nodding up and down. I don't want to need a fungicide. I don't want to do that. I'm going to have to cut somewhere. Right? It's all going to happen. You cannot replace lost bushels. In our next podcast, we're going to talk about strategies that you can use right now to help a farmer understand that he or she cannot replace lost bushels. And if you're going to lose $75 an acre, what if your bushels go down and now you've lost $125 an acre? You cannot replace lost bushels. I gave you 3 tips here today. I gave you 3 tips. Listening, empathizing. I gave you 2 really, really, really great questions. And I also shared with you that you need to fall in love with what? You need to fall in love with your customers' problems and not your solutions. That's what we do here on these podcasts, on these tailgate sessions. We talk about the real things that are going on in real ways to help you have real success. I'm David Dahm. I want you to go out and have a successful day.
If you're in, meet me here.